Hello there, I'm James Preston, and welcome to another edition of Executive Corner Expert Talks. Here at Kalkine, we bring to you industry leaders, successful business owners, market and equity advocates, all under one roof to help you discover the insights of the stock market and help you to understand how you can create multiple passive income streams. In this expert talk, I'll be sitting down with Mr. David Hayes, the CEO of Jeeves. Jeeves is a fast-growing startup founded in Sydney, Australia in 2015 by both David and also Graham Campbell. And the founders identified a need for translation services in the hospitality industry, and this idea quickly grew into an all-encompassing SMS and translation platform for all businesses. Jeeves Plus is a customer support platform that lets its clients manage multiple text-based conversations with customers, translate to and from 109 different languages effortlessly, and be their customer relationship management phone book. Now, to talk us through the finer points of all of that, David Hayes now joins me. David, welcome to Kalkine.
James, thank you for the time and the opportunity.
Great to have you here. Now, David, first and foremost, I'll give it a bit of a brief overview of the company, but can you inform our viewers exactly what it is that Jeeves Plus does and how the business model operates?
Look, it's very simple, James. What we tried to do is challenge the whole customer service paradigm. So traditionally, customer service is done through a 1-800-1300 number, and people call that number. They are connected to a live operator, and that live operator and the consumer have that conversation until the matter is resolved. What we said is let's look at the channels of communications that are currently being used out there in the marketplace. And we looked at all the various demographics and realized that messaging was the principal communications channel. And so we said, okay, how can we use this messaging platform to be able to create a much more cost-effective and efficient customer service? So what we did is we said, okay, let's take SMS as a starting point. So allowing a customer to send an SMS to the platform to be answered by a live operator. That a live operator responds to that message and the message goes back to their SMS. Now, an operator can handle multiple conversations at any one time, and the consumer can come in and out of that conversation as and when convenient. Now, we overlaid that by saying to ourselves, how can we challenge the language issues? How can we make our platform multilingual? So we built in an automatic translation platform into our messaging gateway. So what we were able to do then is to address the issues of initially in the hospitality where guests arrived and they don't speak any English. So let's take an example where a guest arrives at a hotel, they text in Mandarin to a dedicated hotel number. It comes into the platform, it's automatically translated into English, and the operator is then shown the message in English. They then respond in English. That English response is then automatically translated back into Mandarin and sent to their mobile phone. And so we took that whole paradigm and said to ourselves, okay, it's the hospitality industry, it's good, but what other channels can we add into that mix? So we said, okay, there's SMS, there's Facebook Messenger, there's Google Business Messenger, there's also web chat. So, and also we've just recently connected WhatsApp. So these messaging channels are ubiquitous across all telephones globally. So you can have a situation on our platform where you can come in and start the conversation on a web chat at your home office. But then you said, oh, okay, I've got to go out now. So they can continue that conversation through SMS or through Facebook Messenger. So what we tried to do is to say to customer service, this is a better way of doing it. Plus, it gives you the opportunity to have engagement where English is a second language with the customers. So that's where we're at the moment.
Look, it's an incredibly fascinating concept. I'm quite interested as to how it actually works. So is it like an app, or is it an add-on on whether it be Google Chrome or something that then integrates with the individual platforms, whether it be Facebook or WhatsApp? How exactly does it integrate with the different ways of communication?
Look, it is actually very simple, James. So what they have is a situation where SMS is on every mobile telephone. There's nothing to download. Facebook Messenger, well, 98% of the globe seem to be on Facebook. Google Business Messenger is when you do a search for a company on your mobile phone in either Google or in Google Maps, you automatically come up with the opportunity to use Google Business Messenger within that download. So there's no app involved here. They don't need to download anything, and that was part of the beauty about the concept, is that the actual consumer does not have to do anything different than they're normally doing. Web chat, they just click on a bubble on the web session, and it pops up with that bubble. They put in their mobile number, and it connects their mobile number to the platform. So all of those messages coming through any of those standard messaging applications, which don't really require any download, will then all arrive at the operator interface, and the operator can have that entire conversation regardless of the channel. And what we find with some of our clients, that the consumers are going from one channel to another channel to another channel. So, and also we're finding that they're going from English to French or French to English, etc. So, it's been an interesting journey, an interesting learning curve. But the key is there's really not much that the consumer has to do to engage with the platform.
Yeah, it's incredible. Making it as easy as possible for them is always a big tick in anyone's book. Are there many competitors in this space? And if so, how does Jeeves.Plus separate from them?
Good question, James. Look, there is certainly companies globally that provide web chat. So they can hook the little web chat widget on their website for customer service. And that then engages with their back-end customer service team. And there's other people doing SMS facilities. However, there's nobody that I can see that has the various channels that we provide currently. And also, we provide those channels on an international basis. So we've recently launched in the US, we've recently launched in the UK, and that's why we're a little bit keen on having a chat with Kalkine, because we're looking for investors in that space. But be that as it may, the unique offering that Jeeves has is its ability to provide conversations in 109 languages. So as I said before, the language translation issue and opportunity is a massive, massive problem out there. Now, when you have the ability to have customer service in 109 languages, you avoid the cost of expensive multilingual customer service agents. And you also, dismiss the whole necessity to have a translator in more complicated situations. So that's our unique selling point, James, is that we provide a customer service in 109 languages.
David, absolutely. I mean, when I was back in high school, I was taking French at the time, and one of the pathways is when we were studying that was potentially you could become a French translator. Now, there wasn't a great deal of them in Australia, so it looked like something that could be quite promising. This has well and truly blown that out of the water. You're right. You don't need an individual dedicated person to be speaking 109 languages if they can. Good on them, but this is what that service provides. Now, as part of the service as well, we need to know exactly what it costs. So what are the kind of pricing plans that you provide, and are they competitive against the other people in this field?
Look, it's a very interesting question, James. I think that our pricing is a little bit of a premium pricing position, and we charge $300 per seat per month. That covers all the messaging requirements, etc. There is a little bit of a setup fee, which is not unreasonable, but if you look at the entire commercial proposition with $300 per seat per month, plus a reasonable setup fee, usually about $1,500, including discovery and training for the operators, it's a well-positioned pricing structure.
And I would imagine the clientele as well, is it typically more higher or mid to high socioeconomic status?
Well, look, it's interesting that we have clients from big majors all the way down to little shops. And what we're doing at the moment now is we are trying to say to a lot of the help services out there, such as the Lifelines of this world, to say, listen, why don't you consider us as a platform for engaging where people are in distress or in trauma? Now, we can also provide that platform in multiple languages. So we can provide a platform for a Lifeline or a company like that to say that they can now engage where English is a second language. People that have trauma or are in distress, and COVID has really raised that to the top of the discussion. Now, if a help service approach us, we are prepared to provide the whole platform at cost price, which is a significant discount. Because look, we want to be able to give back a bit, and we want to be able to allow those help services to be able to engage with what they call the call community, which is the cultural and language diverse communities. And so, yeah, that's an offer that we'd like to place out there in the marketplace, and we're quite happy to do that for any territory, basically.
Well, it's a really interesting point you raise around COVID. I mean, one of the most lockdown areas, especially in New South Wales, has been Western Sydney, where we see, an extraordinary melting pot of different cultures and diverse backgrounds there. When you've got such a lockdown, such a police presence as is happening in that area, it does have a mental health component. And we've seen, rising calls, as you said, to Lifeline throughout the year. I think 9 of their 10 calls historically, the most call loads in a day, have been from this year. And I would imagine a lot are coming out of those areas. So very valid point you raised about having that language communication for those essential services. Let's move on a little bit here, though, to a 2020 State of Local Business report. Now, according to this report, shoppers are almost twice as likely to prefer text messaging over any other communication method at all. That includes emails, includes phone calls. Would you say that is accurate from what you've experienced with Jeeves Plus?
Well, look, James, I've got an inbuilt research team. I've got 3 daughters adult daughters who live on messaging, and they live on their mobile phones. They purchase on their mobile phones. They do banking on their mobile phones. The reality of the situation is, if you go to a major shopping centre and just observe the community there, you'll see that they text, they don't talk. Because when you take customer service, we had a very interesting situation with one of our clients where there was a consumer who was trying to get customer service, and they were on a bus and they were calling the 1-800 number. Our client said, look, it's difficult to hear you, and you're having difficulty hearing me. Why don't we just swap to our text-based service? And they went, oh, fantastic. So they were able to do a customer service call via messaging on SMS, and a very, very happy customer and a very happy customer service operator. And it was a successful experience. Now, shopping and e-commerce, the best opportunity you have is to use the SMS to engage with the consumer, and use that SMS platform to be able to provide the consumer support during that e-commerce experience, because to avoid that exiting before checking out. A lot of people exit before they check out, and so to engage with them at that stage through messaging is much more convenient than voice. And you can quickly ping them and say, okay, listen, I see you're on the service and you're having a bit of problems. Can I help you in any way? And through messaging, it doesn't disturb their train of thought.
Absolutely. Now, another interesting part when it comes to tech businesses like Jeeves Plus is innovation. We always need to be looking at the product, developing it, making sure it's keeping up to date with the changing trends in society. What kind of innovation can users expect moving forward from your platform?
James, where's the crystal ball? Look, I think the interesting area is telehealth for us. We're very keen to go into the telehealth area, to provide that first level of touch with potential patients. Now, I think the big issue with COVID has been the overwhelming presentation to doctors' surgeries, and the overwhelming issue that doctors have been faced to try to explain COVID to patients. What we're saying is we can provide that first touch to simply remove some of those frequently asked questions, those from the necessity for the doctor to answer those. So that could be handled by a support person who's properly trained. Telehealth is one area we're very keen on. The other area we're very keen on is artificial intelligence, and to use the data that we have acquired through the multiple conversations with clients and customers to say, what are the opportunities? What are the predictions? How can we predict that conversation? How can we prevent an issue happening? How can we provide that support before they even know it? Now, we take the learnings of something like Crisis Text Line in America, where they have analyzed those conversations and they actually can predict whether people are going to commit suicide or not by just simply analyzing the conversation. So AI and the analytics of the conversation to predict and prevent, and of course telehealth is the two areas that we're exploring at the moment for future.
I think that kind of answers my next question too, which would have been, what is the 5-year plan? Is that still pretty much on track with, I suppose, closer innovations such as what you're talking about with the telehealth?
Look, I think the 5-year plan also includes trying to move to the perfect situation where somebody could vocalize their issue. That then turns into text. That text is then translated, analyzed, and then responded to is the 5-year plan. Because trying to really enhance that whole vocal opportunity in the multiple languages is nirvana. Now, we look at the aged care problem, where there is aged care patients out there who are either English or non-English speaking, who have difficulty doing anything other than vocalize. Now, if we can provide a platform where we can enhance that opportunity and provide them a level of care which is really elegant and sophisticated, and provides them that special opportunity to be able to engage during times of trauma or just general day-to-day maintenance, then that is nirvana for us. And I think that's a big, hairy, audacious goal going down the track, James.
Look, we always like to shoot for the moon, that is for sure, and I'm 100% positive that Jeeves Plus will get there. David, thank you so much for your time today. Is there anything else you'd like to share with our audience just before we wrap up?
James, thank you. Look, I would like to do a shout out to any help services that watch this, because if there's help services out there that have a need to engage where English is a second language trauma situations, we'd like to help. So it's as simple as that. So I'd like to leave it on the basis that we want to give back and provide that level of service to help services. So if they're interested, please contact Kalkine and we'd love to help them.
Absolutely. And we would love to help you with that mission as well. David, thank you so much for joining Kalkine today.
James, thank you for the time.
That's David Hayes, the CEO of Jeeves. Plus. And if you missed any part of this interview or you'd like to browse our extensive catalogue of expert talks, just head across to the YouTube channel Kalkine Media. I'm James Preston, reporting for Kalkine.